Welcome to Through the Eyes of Poetry. I'm Suzanne Barnett, your host, and tonight I am really so proud and excited to introduce Mama Crow Ensemble, and here they are. Mama Crow.
Hi.
And Taj Angelo and Mastalak, right?
Yeah.
What names? Well, not your name, Taj. Well, Taj Mahal. Mama Crow, tell us, how did you get your name?
My name came to me through a friend as a nickname, and it just stuck, and I tried to get rid of it because I was like, I didn't really choose it, but it just stuck. And it came from just years and years of loving crows and being fascinated by them and feeling like a spiritual connection to them.
And your real name is Carmen.
Yes.
What's your last name?
Gutierrez, yeah.
Carmen Gutierrez.
I was named after my great-grandmother, who's Latina.
Now, I want to know, how did the three of you get together? Taj.
Well, I've known Louis for quite some time. Mr. Master Lock here has been one of my most dedicated musical partners in a lot of different projects. We've done Global Community Resurrection and Lyric Foundry. Mama Crow I met back in 2007 on stage at Ashkenaz with a band of Mystics. Big ups to Travis and Kevin and Jared for that one. We've probably been doing music together for about 6 or 7 months now, just as an ensemble, as a trio.
So this is a rather new group.
Yeah.
But a wonderful group. On one of my shows, I'm going to have you and you're going to do your music. But I'm waiting towards the end because we're going to get just a glimpse, which is going to thrill the audience, okay? Now, my question is, tell about the bands, and that it's not just the three of you, but you also have other bands and singers and so forth. Tell about that, Mama Crow.
Sure. Well, like Taj mentioned, we play with many people in the Bay Area, including Band of Mystics. The ensemble is us three, the trio, and we've really gelled into a tight group. We're pretty spot on. But we'll bring in bands to fill out our sound depending on the venue. We just played at a huge festival in Santa Barbara called Lucidity Festival, and we had a bassist, a cajon player, a cello player, another guitarist, and a singer. So we're really versatile in that way that our sound is so tight that we could sit in with any kind of group. So we fluctuate in size sometimes, but still the same songs. But they take different shape too, depending if we have other instruments and other band members.
But you sing and you play the guitar.
Yes.
And Taj, what do you do?
I sing background vocals and also do MC work.
And this is the hot one. Master Lock, tell what you do.
Well, what I do is beatbox. I make beats with my mouth.
Do it for us.
Oh, that was just a little sample, sorry.
How did you learn to do that?
I mean, I've been beatboxing since I was 11. I mean, I don't know, I just saw the Beastie Boys and, you know, the Fat Boys, and I just wanted to, you know, get on their level, you know?
And you also, didn't you do the drums too?
I'm a drummer also.
Yeah. So do you do the drums at all with the three of you?
Well, not in this band, but
Yeah.
I'm in many bands with this gentleman right here.
So you two knew each other before you knew Mama Crow.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that name.
Oh, thank you.
Can I take that name
Yeah,
sometime?
sure.
Because I love crows too.
Oh, You'd be Queen Crow.
The Queen Crow.
Queen
You're
Crow.
the Princess Crow.
I'd
Okay.
gladly be a princess.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about, this is very exciting, your live album. Tell about that.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, so even though we're a new group and we've been playing for about 7 months, we're all pretty seasoned musicians, and we've been playing out a lot. Like within these 7 months, we've packed in a lot of shows, and we've toured up and down the West Coast, and we've been blessed to connect with KMVT as well. And from that, you know, we got a live album. We had a friend who's also a musician record us at a live gig we had in Santa Cruz. And we have about 6 beautiful songs from that. We didn't totally plan on the live recording happening either. It was spontaneous that our friend brought the equipment and recorded it. And we listened to it after the show and we were like, dang, this sounds pretty good. We could do something with this. So we're all going to be producing it ourselves and editing it. It's going to be very hands-on, grassroots album that we're going to have for everyone soon.
How can we get in touch with the 3 of you?
We all have many ways. Let's see.
The easiest and probably most common way you can get in touch with everybody in the ensemble would be through mamacrowmusic.com.
Okay, that's mamacrowmusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really...
Yeah, 1 M for Mama, M-A-M-A, C-R-O-W.
Yeah, M-A, not M-O-M-M-A.
Right.
M-A, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, just for a little background, Mama Crow, how old were you when you started your music career? Well, I mean, you know, when you knew that you wanted to be a musician.
I was really young. I was always singing ever since I was like a little toddler. Like I would sing right along as I was talking, learning words and singing to melodies. And my dad played music and played guitar, so I was surrounded by it. When I was 7 was when I wanted to like be a writer. First grade. But I found my sister's journal. She's 10 years older than me, and I was fascinated by writing, and I never was exposed to it before. Just writing down your feelings. And so I started doing that when I was 7. That's kind of when I became exposed to wanting to be a songwriter. I wrote a song in the tub when I was like 6.
Now, do you all write your music?
We do. We're all writers. With Mama Crow Ensemble, I'm the main songwriter, but we've written songs together. Taj writes all his own material. Yeah.
Pretty much your mom beats.
I don't tell him what to do. He does it.
Taj, how does that come to you? When you
Writing, you mean?
Yeah, writing songs.
Usually very spontaneously and late at night. Usually in the autumn. I don't. How can I call it an inspiration? When I am moved emotionally and there's nothing I can do to stop it from moving me emotionally, I have to write it down. And that's the point where I know that it's worth saying. Like good poetry, a teacher of mine used to say, is always universal. When something moves me to the point where I have to express it because it's important not only to me but for others to hear, then I know it's about time to put the pen to the pad.
The genius, you know, all these people that, like you all, who are so talented, I always like to know what inspires them and how does it come to them. Okay, Mr. Masterlock, tell about your musical career.
Well, like I said, I started beatboxing when I was 11, but when I was around 14, I was going to Praise Temple Missionary Baptist Church, and that's when I really wanted to get into music. And I wanted the drummer to teach me how to drum, and he wouldn't. But that's okay, because I learned on my own. I'm pretty much self-taught, and, you know, reading books and here and there. Just around 2000, I got into another band, and I'm not going to say the name, sorry. But I was really, like, focused. This is what I want to do. Right now I play for 2 churches in the East Bay, and been doing that for like 12 years.
And what do you play?
Gospel music
Oh, you do?
on the side, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you sing gospel music?
No, I drum it.
Oh, you drum it?
I'm a drummer. Right?
Okay. Now, the next question is, what kind of music do you all play?
Together,
Yeah.
together we are probably a funk, folk, rock, hip hop crossover, dab of Middle Eastern flavor in the harmonies. Cross genre, I guess you could call it. Cross genre.
Cross genre.
Yeah, we giggle
What
a
does
little.
that mean?
We giggle when you ask us what our sound is like because we all come from really diverse places musically. So when we come together, it's a touch of everything. So what we dub it, what we call it, because you need some kind of explanation, even though it's hard to describe our sound. It's acoustic, neo-soul, and hip-hop.
That
But
sounds
it's so much more.
That sounds so interesting. I'm so frustrated because I'd love to hear your music, but what we'll do is just tell the audience to tune in on one of my shows, and we'll have you on soon.
And there's also the show that we did with Tim Erskine.
Speak up.
There's also the show that we did with Tim Erskine is a lot of the videos we've been finding on YouTube finally.
Oh.
You can find our music on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
Right.
what would it be under?
Just Google Mama Crow. Google or
Oh.
YouTube Mama Crow.
Right.
Oh, good.
And you'll see
Excellent.
some of our stuff.
Excellent. Now, tell about Woman's Voice.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about Women's Voice. Women's Voice is a grassroots organization and female creative collective that started in 2008. What started as a small concert of 5 women, thus Women's Voice, has evolved into an international organization where we raise money for other organizations that directly help women and children, and it's for all over the planet. We hold events that feature female artists, and all of the proceeds that we make from those events go towards specific organizations. We've raised money for the Solid Foundation in Oakland, and we've also raised money for Courage to Rise, which is an organization that does work with women in India. We've also raised money for the Organization for Women's Freedom in Iraq. And the purpose of Women's Voice is to strengthen the community and to have sisters really feel support on so many levels, whether it's sharing our ideas or expertise or what we know, or just really, sharing our personal stories that creates inspiration and connection. And it doesn't matter where we come from, all walks of life, like we can connect through our sharing of our personal stories and where we've come from. So Women's Voice, it's a big, beautiful movement it's turned into, and we have events in the Bay Area. But you can find out about Women's Voice just through mamacrowmusic.com.
Say that again, Mama Crows?
mamacrowmusic.com.
Okay.
And men are extremely invited to be a part of Women's Voice events because it's an open conversation. Women and men and balance is extremely important in our world right now at all times, and it's not always balanced, but part of our work is that we strive for that balance by, being okay with letting the women have a little niche and men can come, no men allowed, and then men can have their thing, their ciphers, and women can come be a part of that too.
Right.
So we're opening it up in different ways.
I don't know how to react to that. How do the men feel that you're not that big a part?
Well, I mean, I don't feel as if it's not that I'm not that big a part so much as I'm not the showcase at the time, and that's fine. You know, I'm made up of a half percentage of the population. I can't expect to be on Front Street all the time, you know.
Okay.
These guys have big front row parts too. I mean, they hold such good space. I just got to give them props.
Yeah.
They aren't in the back in any way. They really support me in so many ways. And all women in their lives, they're good brothers. Yeah.
Thank you.
You have sisters?
I do.
How many sisters, Taj?
3 sisters.
And you're the only boy?
I am of 3 other boys.
Wow, a big family.
Yeah.
And Master Lock, how about you?
I have 2 sisters and, let me count them out. 1, 2, 3 brothers, is it? Yeah.
You all are,
so many.
and Mama Crow, what about you?
I have 1 older sister and 2 brothers. Yeah,
I
I'm the
think-
baby.
I think what you're doing with that women's thing is absolutely fantastic,
Thank you.
really. But you need to really advertise it. But maybe you do. Do you?
We have been. We're growing, so I imagine, you know, the more we put it out there, the more we grow. So you can find out about it in the Bay Area, and we also have representatives, you know, in New York and South America and Cuba, as well as Mexico. So it's a global organization. You can find us online.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We only have a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
And the last question is spirit in music. What is that?
Yay! So, spirit in music. Well, the spirit that exists in music is a big focus for us when we play together. As you know from our interview, we're really poetic, spiritual, and fun people. And when we play together, there's a certain magic that happens that is what makes our trio so special. And we call that the spirit in the music.
You come from the heart.
I want to
Yeah.
thank the 3 of you. You all are just wonderful guests. And all I can say is that I wish you the greatest success.
Thank you very
And,
much.
Thank you.
and you'll,
Thank you.
you'll be seen again soon. Also, I want you all to stay, my wonderful audience, to stay tuned because Jennylyn Gleave is going to be reading some, talk about hot poetry. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
My name is Jennylyn Gleave, and tonight I have the privilege of reading the wonderful poetry, a collection of it, that was written by my friend, Mark Isaac Potter. And I hope you are going to enjoy them as much as I did in preparation for reading them tonight. And the first one is called Old. Man from Ohio. He bent over the front desk, slapping at his chest to look for his eyeglasses, which were on the top of his head. What do you mean she's in the intensive care? No one told me over the phone she was that critical. The people he had spoken to over the phone were not any hospital staff at all, but his sister's husband and her grown kids. Harold lived on a little plot of land in northern Ohio. No one told him his sister was that sick. The woman at the information desk of the hospital, having been in his situation literally hundreds of times, knew just what to do. The young candy striper sitting next to her sensed there was about to be an important lesson. The more experienced woman, who was the candy striper supervisor, began. First she stood up. She faced the man directly. The man was probably in his 70s. He was wearing a very old suit. One would guess he had never been to California before. The woman's voice was powerful and compassionate. You see that corridor, hallway? You see the hallway? She changed the wording, not knowing his education level, and the fact that he was in so much distress at the moment. Again, the candy striper supervisor stood tall and delivered the same sentence. "Do you see that hallway?" As she said this, she physically pointed to the hallway. Hundreds of times she had directed distressed visitors to their destination within the hospital. Within a few seconds, her experience told her more help was needed in this case. The old man had turned, revealing how bent over he really was. He started shaking a little and crying. He did not seem to have a handkerchief. He only brought his hand up to cover the embarrassment on his face. The supervisor turned to the younger candy striper. "Julie, get Ryan on the phone to take my spot up here. I'm going to be helping this gentleman for a while." With that, she came around the desk, put her arm around the man's wrist to console and support him. She began to talk to him in an even softer voice. Together, the two of them walked down the hallway. Great job, Potter. That was old. The next one I'm going to read you is called North Face. The America I fondly remember, which is now gone forever, which is now living and crawling forever, infinitely. Each house, each home in this block has a breakfast nook with 3 stools. The stools are high with chrome stems and a marble tan vinyl seat. At breakfast, each husband in his block slips up on his tan stool. Each man instinctively takes the northmost tan stool at the breakfast nook in his respective house. These houses have stories to tell that will never be told, stories that not telling of which will train a nation of forgetters, deniers, and doers. People who want nothing more than to get something done, and then to get something done, and then to be given an assignment of something to be done. So each man in his blue or gray Sears and Roebuck pants sips his percolated Folgers coffee. "More cream, mother," he says to his wife. Part 2. Except for the guys in the custom homes at the top of North Face who are served breakfast in some custom way by someone other than their wives who are still in bed telling themselves stories or curling their hair. Part 3. The other exception, of course, is Southland, the 71 families who live in Southland over the tracks, over the line. Trailer trash, white trash, or elaborate cardboard box dwellers. If there's a refrigerator and if the electricity bill has been paid, someone in the family who is able to stand up in the morning, despite an evening of just plain hard work, of exhaustion, of 3 jobs with double shifts, of kidneys damaged from bosses who won't let you take a pee break, teenage faces, puffy from a belt buckle that came across too fast meant for a shoulder, of women sore between the legs from men who would not stop and can't get enough to explain anything or make themselves happy, from sex and drugs and alcohol mixed together in groups and bigger groups and more potent groups, of incest and rape and endless beatings that leave even the lower corners of the place with huge dents and gaping holes, where someone cowering, crying, shaking in horror was spared one blow of an infinity of blows. The next morning, whoever is able in that house stands up or limps or crawls to the refrigerator, puts the biggest cockroach, the juiciest spider in an old pan with no Crisco. No, I can't believe it's not butter, with no bacon grease, pretending for some sense of what it must be like on North Face to actually turn the stove on as the gas had ever been hooked up, pretending to cook the breakfast, squishing them, turning them lightly in the cold pan, imitating cooking like the lady on the TV at Juvenile Hall. This breakfast maker does not waken anyone. There isn't enough to go around. And that was North Face. And then the next poem I thought I'd like to read is called Marriage. Marry me. I'm a worthless man with a raging sex drive. Like the great French of the past ages, I don't bathe. Marry me. I work at McDonald's 2 days a week. I love Blink 182. Or would you marry me if I said this? Marry me. I gave Florence Nightingale one of my kidneys. I was the inspiration for James Tate's The Oblivion. Haha. I delivered mail to the Gettysburg Address. I gave Anthony Hopkins his penchant for warm tea. So now you see it. Through the ages, good and bad, men have found mates. Marriage is a wonderful coat that keeps warm. The ones who put it on. Almost forgot that part. And the next one I'm going to read you, I'm actually going to read a very short one because I think that I'm almost out of time. And so I'm going to look for a tiny little one to read you. And this one is Purpose of Commercials. I sat like I always do in my lazy boy. My son came up the gravel drive in his 1956 Ford. He had the same car for nearly 50 years. He slammed the car door, slammed the screen door. He shoved the couch across the room with one hand. I never wanted kids. Marge wanted kids. The knife went in such a twisted way I was still alive as he drove away as the soap opera went to commercial. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed Mark Isaac Potter's great poetry. Thank you.